Good evening, and welcome to Dementia Diaries, a caregiver's journey. Thank you for joining us for our first episode. Today's episode is going to be Louise's story by the Harris family. With me, my guests will be Brenda Harris, Nelson, Jackie Harris, Raymond Harris, and Jessica Harris. I decided to make this podcast in honor of our mother. Our mother passed away in July 2022 from vascular dementia. To help others and to share the challenges and experiences that we faced, this podcast can hopefully give others ideas and ways to take care of their loved ones. So we're going to jump in and go ahead and get started. So, as I stated, Mom had vascular dementia. Jackie, can you tell us what that was?
Vascular dementia is when you have impaired supply of the blood to the brain from strokes that a person has had, which would cause them to begin to lose little parts of their memory.
Okay. Jessie, can you add anything to that?
No, she pretty much summarized that up pretty good.
Okay. Well, let's talk about how we recognized that Mom had dementia. What were some of the first signs that you all noticed? Brenda, I'm going to start with you.
The first sign that I noticed, Mom was forgetting to take her medication. She said that she was taking it, and then we found out that she won't. We get over there, and her medication, she done wrapped it all up in tissue. Also, we noticed that she was taking her money, wrapping it up in tissue. And the way we found that out is because one day we throwing away tissue and realized that she had money in it. So that's when I decided that I needed to take her to the doctor to find out what was going on. And that's when he told me that she had vascular dementia.
Okay. What about you, Jackie? How did you notice?
I noticed when Mom, same on what Brenda was saying, how she would wrap up stuff and then she would forget. But the main thing that hit me with Mom is when she was cooking and forgot to leave the stove, turn the stove off, and forgot that she was cooking and, almost burnt the apartment down. So.
What about you, Jessie?
Well, as y'all know, I used to work at night with 2 jobs, and I would go to Mom's in between shifts, and she started putting a chair behind the door. So that's how I realized that something was wrong. She was locking herself basically in the apartment so nobody else could come in. So she would have a chair behind the door. So I would have to just, keep pushing the door till I got in to move the chair. So that's how I realized something was going on. Plus, at that particular time, she was becoming a little incontinent. And I had, when I came over, I found her incontinent, and I had to put her in the tub. But that was a task all of its own. But that's how I realized something was going on.
Okay, what about you, Raymond? How did you find out?
I wasn't familiar with dementia, but I noticed when I went to visit Mom, when I would talk to her, she kept repeating herself from conversation. So that's kind of how I noticed that there was something going on. I wasn't quite sure what it was, but that's what gave me some idea. Okay, something's not right here.
And I know for me, because you all live up north in the same area, and I'm in Florida. When I came up, I noticed the repeating of different phrases and so forth and so on. But how did you handle that? How did you handle hearing her repeat the same thing? I know it can get frustrating sometimes, but how did you handle that? Raymond?
Well,
First of all, when she first started, I used to say, "Mom, you just told me that. Why you keep telling me that over and over again? I don't heard it." But then after a while, I started just saying, "Okay, okay, yes," and I just answer her based on what she says. So I just went from kind of being defensive to just trying to just let her be and flow the way she was going in the conversation.
Okay. Jessie?
Well, Bob, me working with dementia patients, it really didn't bother me. I would
Okay.
just tell her, Mom, you tell me that one more time. And of course, she would tell me that one more time. And so that's the way I dealt with it. I knew basically after we, found out she had dementia, what was going on. So if you work around a person with dementia long enough, you know the signs and the symptoms. So you go along with it.
Okay.
That's how I handled it.
So is that what you all would recommend to others that, have parents that are repeating and repeating and repeating? Um, I know at times before, maybe before we even knew she had dementia, I mean, was it frustrating? Was it frustrating to you, any of you at all? And how
It
did you get
was.
over it?
It
Let me
wasn't
answer
really.
that question. Hold on, Jackie, if you don't
Hmm.
mind. The question that you asked, Lisa, about how would you tell somebody else about what to go along with, what they repeating themselves with. In my learning and what I have learned, it's not. And Jackie, she can chime in on this. It's not good to, would you say, correct them. It's just go with them. And that's what I've learned. Now, Jackie may have a different opinion on this one, but from the classes I've taken, it tell just go along with them. It's not good to, you know, the tendency of going long term. They can
Hmm.
remember long term better than they can remember today.
Hmm.
It's opposite.
Go ahead, Jackie.
It's opposite. They can remember things that happened a long time ago.
Isn't
That's
that
what
what I
she
Right.
just
said.
said?
Okay.
That's what I just said. They can remember
Yes.
things that happened a long time ago. So you go with what they know. You don't try to, in my learning, bring them up to date.
Hmm.
That's in my
Okay.
learning now. It might be something different with Jackie, but in the classes that I've taken and what I have read up on, that's what I was taught.
Okay. Would you agree with that? They go back to long-term memory. They can remember things from years ago. But things that are more up to date, it's kind of harder for them to remember. Jackie, would you agree with
Yes,
that?
I agree with
Okay.
that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so my thing is, so I guess the overall point is what we did is we went along with it
Mhm.
instead of trying to correct. No, that's not true, because when that happens, the individual may get frustrated and
Hmm.
anxious and, things of that nature.
Well,
Would you
some
all
of
agree?
us, some of
Go ahead.
us went along with it. Really, not in the beginning stages. Some of us went along with it,
Mm-hmm.
and then like Mom, you done said that again, Mom. Okay, why you keep saying it? But as time passed,
Mm-hmm.
you just learn to just wherever she is, you meet her where she is.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
Mm-hmm.
when she was down in the bottom,
Yes,
with her, what was that?
We're having a little difficulty, Jesse, with your
Oh, you can't,
you
my
hitting it.
earpod?
You're
Mhm.
I'm
hitting it.
hitting
yes.
it.
Okay, but go
Oh, is
ahead.
that better?
That's
Where
better.
Yes,
was
it
that
is.
place is this better?
Yes.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes.
Where was
Yes.
that place she would always go? Somebody's bottom.
Lonnie Leaks
Lonnie
bottom.
Lee's
Lonnie.
bottom. When she was in Lonnie Lee's bottom, I was in Lonnie Lee's bottom with her.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's the way I did with her when I was with her. Wherever she was that particular time is where I was. And so
Right.
Mhm.
that's how we carried on that's how we carried on conversations. Raymond?
Raymond.
And just as Jessie was saying, is when I have conversations with her, if she was talking about the past, I would just inquire, ask questions about back then, and she would just be talkative and just give me all the information I wanted. And come to find out, it was pretty accurate.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
The information she gave me. So the long-term memory was there. And when she had those conversations, I just dove into it with her, and we just had good conversation about the past.
Awesome. And I know that I can remember a time when our uncle was there, and mom was laying in the bed, and we thought she was asleep. And we were talking, about things in the past. And my uncle was trying to remember my grandmother's maiden name. And he said, what was mom's maiden name was? And mother came out and said Moore. And we both looked and said, okay, she's not listening and she understands what it is that we're saying. So,
Bless you.
yeah, there will be instances of that nature as well. So let's talk about mom. So there was a decision to move mom into a nursing home. How did you all handle that? Meaning, did you let the nursing home take care of her? Did you trust the nurses in the nursing home? How often did you come see her? How were you a part of her everyday life?
I'll
I'm
start
gonna,
off.
Go
Okay.
ahead, Raymond.
I couldn't really adjust to mom being in a nursing home. I didn't visit her regularly in the nursing home because when I went, I felt like it was when you smell the scent and the patients there, and it just didn't make me feel comfortable. So I'm just being real. I didn't really visit her a lot in the nursing home because of that environment. Now I look back and I know it probably wasn't right, but I'm just saying how I felt at the time. I wasn't comfortable with that at all. So I was glad that we made a move.
Okay.
I think we pretty much understand that, Raymond. My thing is with mom, I like the fact that she went to a nursing home. That was not my plan for mother to go into a nursing home. So I was not in that meeting to agree for her to go into the nursing home. But once she got there, I would go. I had to be to work at 9 o'clock. I would get to work, get to mom at 7 and stay with her. Give her bath in the morning, because me working in a nursing home, I don't trust everybody to work in a nursing home.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't trust people to give mom her bath. I didn't trust them to make sure that she was okay. I did not trust the people in the nursing home, and I
Let
felt
me ask
like
you. Let me ask you a question. Um, how did she allow you to give her a shower or bath?
no, she didn't allow me to give her a shower. Once I got her in the shower, it was okay, but getting her in there was the problem. And Jack and Genetta, she was locked down.
Oh
She was
my.
locked down. That was the hardest thing to do, was to give her a shower. But it was easier for me by myself to give her the shower than to have someone with me. Because,
Mm-hmm.
we have a tendency of getting in the way. I have a tendency of liking doing things by myself.
Mm-hmm.
So with
So
my experience, I'm sorry, Jessie, finish.
it wasn't easy giving her a shower, but I would rather have went through her drowning me in there for somebody in the nursing home to give her a bath. As
Okay.
a matter of fact, that felt like more in the nursing home was this one person that she did not like in this nursing home. And this one, and in my heart, I felt like this woman was abusing my mom. So
Mm-hmm.
that's why I would get there so she wouldn't have to touch my mother. When she was working, I did not want her to put her hands on my mother.
Mm-hmm.
And as a matter of fact, when she came to work with me at another place, I expressed myself very well
I'm sure
on
you
how I
did,
felt
Jessica.
in that situation. But I did not like her being in a nursing home, period. I did not like that. That was not my plan for my mother.
All right,
Okay.
Brenda.
Brenda?
Um, that little aide that was taking care of mom. I think all of us had issues with her,
Mm-hmm.
but we were there mostly every day. Pat was there every day,
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
and we had the weekend shifts.
Mm-hmm.
So we nobody could get to mom without going through us because one of us was always there.
Right.
True.
So as far as the decision being made to put mom in a nursing home, I guess that was my decision that probably upset everybody, because at this particular time, mom needed more help than we could give her.
Mm-hmm.
In your opinion.
When mom started walking out the center that she was in and getting locked out at 4:00 in the morning, we had to figure out some way that we can get her somewhere that we wouldn't have to be worrying about her walking down Little River Turnpike at 4:00 in the morning.
Right.
And yes, it was a very hard decision,
Mhm.
but that's something that we had to do at that particular time.
And go ahead, Jackie. I hear
Me,
you.
my experience with working in a nursing home period is I see how staff take care of residents. I see how family don't come in and look after their loved ones. And it can be a really traumatic experience, especially for someone who has dementia. I mean, they're in a new environment, they don't know these people, and you get different people every day or every week. And people just don't know how to approach someone with a dementia, or to even to give them a shower. So my sister and I, we would come, I think it was every other day during the week, to give her a shower. Now, my other sister could sometimes, if you come later in the evening, because my mother was an evening bather, she liked to take a bath at night, you could get in and give her a shower with no problem, without her fighting you, or, she done gave me a black eye, she done beat me up pretty good.
Yeah, sure.
you know, she needed to have the shower. So
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to nursing homes, if you're going to put a loved one in a nursing home, you need to be on top of who's taking care of your loved one.
You
Right.
need to make your presence known.
Don't leave them in
In there
there.
by itself. No.
Just leave them.
So I can tell, and I know for myself personally, I didn't like the fact that she was in a nursing home either. But I wasn't there, so I was not able to go and, take care of her on a daily basis like you all did. And, from different conversations as we go through this, there are 7 of us. There are 7 of us, and all of us did not agree on everything, as you can tell. Everybody did not agree on everything. How did we come together as a family to overcome our disagreements?
What we did with seniority is not seniority of the majority rules. Majority rules. There's 7 of us. We did a vote. Majority rules. That's the way we did it. And if it was not to your liking, okay, you got to suck it up at this, the majority rules, and that's the way it went.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Okay, and that's basically true. And we didn't like that all the time, but the good thing is that we did stand together as a family, and we pre-planned with her services, and I think that's very important for us, for families to do, is to pre-plan and not wait until the time comes to take care of funeral arrangements and all of those things. So when she passed, we didn't have to worry about any of that. We were just able to move on. We didn't have really that confusion or anything along those lines to take care of her service and her burial.
Mhm.
Now, mom was moved out of the nursing home. Can somebody tell us why she was moved out of the nursing home and where she went after that?
This was during the time of COVID. And my sister had been calling, inquiring about my mother, because the facility had shut down everything. You couldn't go in. And they kept saying she was okay, she was okay, she was okay. So she took it upon herself, I think a little forcefully, that she did the
Mm-hmm.
or to see our mom, and our mom was really, really, really sick. So she took her out, took her to the emergency room, found out that she did have COVID,
Mm-hmm.
and she did not go back to the facility. She went down to Fredericksburg to my brother's house. So I guess the phone call was made. He said, okay. And that's where she was until
She
she
passed.
closed her eyes.
So Raymond, let's talk about that because you're married.
Mm-hmm.
All of your children are gone.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you had, I don't know what they call it, what, nesting or
Empty
whatever.
nester. Empty
Yes.
nester. Mhm.
And then, mom came and, part of her care came upon you and your wife. Now, we
Mhm.
had a sister that moved in as well, that
Mhm.
also changed dynamics.
Mhm.
You had me coming up for every month or two, taking residence, and you have siblings coming in every other weekend, and you have aides and hospice and
Mhm.
all of that. How did you handle that? How did your wife handle that? And how did you adjust?
Well, let me start off by saying when Don and I built this house, we built it with the intents of our parents coming to stay with us when they got older, but not under the circumstances that they, um, you know, were in. My wife, Donna, her mother came to live with us, but she also passed away in the home because she came here sick. So we had already had the space for them. It just so happened that, God worked it out way before any of this happened, that we had it planned that
Mm-hmm.
if mom ever needed somewhere to stay, she had somewhere to stay, that she would never have to worry about anything.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but my sister Pat gave me a call and told
Mm-hmm.
me that mom was sick, and we didn't want her to go back into the nursing home, so she asked could we come down and stay at my house because my house was big enough, and we had the room, and like we had all the space here. So we said yes. So I reached out to Donna, and Donna, my wife is Donna, her name is Donna. She said, she wasn't hesitant at all. She said, yes, of course. So that did make an adjustment for us because now for the next 2.5 years, we were kind of limited on what we did. But I am very thankful to God that my siblings um, really stepped up and everybody was doing their part. Started off kind of slow, but my sister Pat, she asked if she come stay, and yes, she had room to stay as well. So she was the primary caretaker mom. So we really didn't have to do a whole lot, but just assist Pat. And then once we got aides in, our duties became even lighter. We would just come in and check in on her, and each of the siblings had a weekend to take care of her. So um, it just worked out well, and we were prepared for it because we knew there would be adjustment. So it really wasn't hard on us. Um, Now that it's over, it took a couple of months to kind of adjust to
Yes. Mm.
being back empty nesters again. But all overall, it was a blessed experience. I
Mm-hmm.
am glad that she came and we had a place able for her to stay. I'm thankful to the siblings and how they supported 100%. So it's important to have family to work together in a situation like that. We're blessed with seven of us, so it really wasn't stressful. But it was okay. And it wasn't that it was adjustment because we had to kind of um, counsel some things and we had to maneuver some things. We couldn't have the freedom of the house as we wanted to, as we say, but we were free enough to manage.
So, and how did, having the people in and out,
Hmm.
um, and how is your mental health? And this is all of us going through this whole, ordeal. Mental health it's a huge issue because it tolls on you, because, we remember mom as mom, and, and over the years, how she changed. How did you handle, what's your mental health?
Can I
How did that
start?
come into effect?
Can
Go
I
ahead, Jessie.
start off with, yeah, because I got to step away for a few minutes. When I first started taking care of mom on my weekend, she was walking.
Mm-hmm.
So therefore I couldn't sleep. When I started, I would just stay in the recliner in
Mm-hmm.
the front room and just keep the television on, which one of my siblings told me that wasn't a good idea because that TV was what was keeping her up. So when I went into the bedroom, it wasn't the TV that was keeping her up. She just wanted to walk. And she
Mm-hmm.
would walk and I would wake up and she's standing over top of me and scaring me half to death. And
Mm-hmm.
then so that's what she was doing, just to walk. So I could never get a good night's sleep when I was down there. Then when she got to the point when she was bedridden, couldn't get out of bed, I couldn't sleep because I didn't want to wake up in the morning and found her
Mm-hmm.
gone. So I had to constantly make sure she was breathing.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, mentally, I had to, and I couldn't adjust myself. I couldn't adjust myself to the fact that she was going to stay in this bed. She was not. My mindset was I do not want to wake up in the morning and find my mom not breathing. I didn't want her to be left alone and I'm asleep
Mm-hmm.
and then I find her. So mentally it was a toll. It was a toll on me. So that's how, and I couldn't change it. I couldn't deal with the fact that she was going down and she was going down faster than I wanted to. I kept telling myself, long as she's fighting, long as she's pinching me, long as she's trying to kick me, she's okay. I know she's okay. But when it got to the point where she wasn't fighting as much, I knew, but I didn't know. I did not want to accept the fact. So I couldn't get myself, and I really couldn't get myself together mentally until after the funeral. Then I had to reel myself back in. And my brother-in-law, my brother-in-law picked up on it. Nobody else did, but he did. Picked up on it. I don't know if he picked on it to go through, but it was just something that he just picked up on that dinner that we was having. I'm getting all emotional. But I really, really, I don't know if he noticed or not, but I really, really appreciated that from him because at that particular time I needed that, and I didn't want that closeness. I didn't want to be around nobody. I just wanted to just be by myself, and I handled my mom's passing, I think, better than I handled my nephew's passing, because I dealt with it in a totally different way. I wanted to be with the family, but I wanted to be with the family coherent, if you understand what I'm saying. But it was just that, and I didn't come around. I didn't come to the house. I just stayed away until the funeral.
Right.
In that dinner. And then my brother-in-law, he's usually a picker. But this particular time, he just sat there and he just talked to me. He just talked to me. Are you okay? It was just the tone. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying or not, but
I understand what you're saying.
I really, really appreciate him for that because he helped me get through that little bit of gathering, I should say, before I just got up and left. I don't know if y'all know that I didn't come around. I needed to be by myself. I needed to mentally get myself together.
What about you, Jeanette?
I got to step away.
How was well-being? How did you handle being
Mom,
the oldest?
well, it was kind of rough. Um, now she got me all flustered, knowing that, her time was coming. And like she said, you were scared to go to sleep because you didn't want to wake up and she wasn't there. But then I got to the point where I said, well, if she go, the best time for her to go would be in her sleep. And we just have to, you know, deal with it. But my mental health just got better in January because it was a long haul between my son and her. I just had to get myself together.
Right.
And so it's something. It's something.
Jackie?
Well, I am a hospice nurse. I've been a hospice nurse going on 12 years. And you think that you are prepared, you know the signs, you know the symptoms, you know the steps, that's what's gonna happen until it comes to your loved one. And I could see the steps, I know what's happening. And really, basically, I'm still not together yet. I'm still working on it.
Well, for me, living away, I did not want to be here in Florida, and she passed in Virginia. So I'm grateful to God that I was there at the house at the time. I will say that, of course, my brother and his wife and Jackie and my other sister Pat, we were there. And I was upstairs. We had a monitor. It's like a baby monitor. And I would watch that monitor every night, all night long. But this particular night, I said, well, I'm going to just go downstairs and be out there with Pat and Mom. And I went down there and, me and Pat, we laying down there trying to sleep. And, all of a sudden, her breathing changed. And we called Raymond, Donna, and Jackie to come down. But I tell you, one of the most beautiful things that we did, my mom was a singer. And she loved the Lord and she loved church. I could read her scriptures and she would be repeating the scriptures right there with me. That never left her. So we started singing her songs, the songs that she used to sing, all 5 of us. And I always say we sung her on to glory because that's what we did. She went on to glory. And I was, how was I? I wasn't sad, really. I was, as a matter of fact, it's going to sound weird to a lot of people, especially if you don't have God in your life and have a relationship with him. I was happy. I was happy that she was no longer suffering, in pain, or any of that. And that stuck with me. Not to say that as time passed, I didn't get sad and I still miss my mom and, calling her and talking to her and, she telling me to get out of face and all those types of things. But if it's different for me, I just feel different about it. But my mental health, during the process, because as I would go home and come back up there, she was always different. Something different had changed. She was walking all the time. Then she was bedridden. And when I was there, one of the things that happened was she stopped eating. And when she stopped eating, that was kind of like my sign that, okay, it's really close. Raymond?
No, I'll just put the 7 signs up, but if you finish, I can
Yeah,
talk
go
after you
ahead.
finish.
Mhm.
My mental health, when it first, when she first came in, and as she got sick, I was kind of like Genetta. I would visit mom in the evening, and but in the mornings, and y'all may not know this, but I had to get Donna to go with me downstairs to check on mom in the mornings,
Mhm.
because I didn't want to see her. I was like Jessie. I didn't want to see mom pass away. I'd be the first one to see her pass away.
Mhm.
So that was my mental state. And when we got the camera, I was watching the camera. Now I get up early to go to work. So my wife Donna would have to take the camera from me so I could get some rest so I could go to work. Because I was like, Lisa, I'm looking at that camera. If a sound go off, I'm in there. What's going on, and I'm looking to see around, and she's moving. If she's moving, I say, yeah, she's all right, so I can doze off a few minutes. So I was mentally in a state of like always on cautiousness.
Mhm.
But then I was in a place of fear in the mornings because I didn't want to go down to see her without Donna. So Donna would get up and we would go down to see mom. But it's good thing I think with me was that I was with her through the whole process, so I could see I wasn't away and then come see something different. I could actually see everything happening, so it wasn't that big of an effect. And then also, God had prepared me for mom's death. I had 3 dreams of mom passing, and I'm boo-hooing and crying and all that. So he had already prepared me for her death. So when mom passed, I was at peace with it.
Mhm.
And just like Lisa was sharing that, now mom is no more pain. She's in a much better place. The shell of this body is gone now. She's getting ready when God come back. She have a glorified body, and she's eternal with God. That's where we believe she is. So I'm at peace with that, and I haven't had any. Well, after the funeral, after we found out she passed house, of course, I had about 2 or 3 months before I go down the basement.
Yeah.
But I finally can go down to the basement again. But it was a little dramatic, for me, but I don't adjust it. But I was never fearful of her death or really sad over her death because I knew and I believe I knew where she was going, and I knew that all the suffering and pain that she just didn't start at when she got dementia. Mom had a life of struggle.
Mhm.
Yes.
So for that to be over, and she done her job, and she did a well job by raising us.
Mhm. Did a great job. Yes.
By
So
herself. So
you know,
yes.
um, I'm happy for
Yes.
her. All right.
And I can tell, everyone as well that, yeah, it's hard, you know, and you're going to be going through emotions and so forth. But there are times there that you're going to laugh. There are memories and moments that you will never ever forget. And there was one time when mom was in the room, and I asked her before she went to bed, I says, Mom, you want me to sing you some songs? She says, yeah. So I'm singing. I mean, I'm just singing. I'm in my 3rd song. I'm just getting it. And she told me, you can stop now. It was just, that tone, you can stop now. And I said, well, okay, good night. She said, good night. I said, okay, I'm going upstairs then. But, there are lots of moments that bring
Yeah.
joy and so forth. So we're going to have about 5 minutes left. So I want each one of you to tell me a joyful moment that you will remember.
Oh wow.
Brenda.
A joyful moment. When she well, funny moments. I laughed at her so much when you trying to get her up in the bed and she got that right hook and she just trying to punch you, gritting down on her lip, trying to make you move, and all the names she was calling y'all, and and yeah, there's some funny moments how she would see these little children stand over there in the corner, and how I'm like, Mom, I don't want to see that. I don't want to see that. I don't want to see that. But yeah,
Jackie.
I don't know. I had so much. You know, I would call my mom Louise.
Oh gosh.
Louise. I love you, Louise. And she would come out and say, shut the hell up. As long as she said that, I'm good. I know she was good.
Jessie, a moment for you.
A moment for me was Philip had called Mom. Sis Jefferson was at the hospital at this time. Philip happened to call and let me know that mother was at the hospital and that I wanted to sing Mom. So he broke out with Trouble in My Way. And she stepped right on in with him. Trouble in My Way. They sang the song. That was a good moment right there for me. To hear her, for her to remember every word to that song and sing with them.
Raymond.
I don't know if I should say this one or not, but this experience me and my brother had with my mom.
Yes.
And I shared it with everybody. I'll just say this. I just keep it like this. Me and my brother had the opportunity of keeping Mom ourselves one weekend. So we're gonna do all the girls stuff that they did. So me and my brother trying to give my mom a bath. And man, we had an experience that you'll never ever forget. And we laugh about that so much. It was funny. But it was a funny moment, but that's all I'm gonna say about that. But that's the most funniest moment. And it's always gonna be a funny moment in every conversation we have or every time we come together. That's gonna be one moment. But me and my brother had an experience with my mama when we were giving her a bath. Lord have mercy.
And that's a good point too, because as kids, I know you're at the end, but as kids, you never want to see your mother with no clothes on. Okay?
Right.
And that's the girls, but coming with the boys, you never want to see your mom with your clothes off. But I think at that moment and in that time, you didn't even think about that.
No, we didn't. No. We had too much other stuff to think about.
Oh my goodness.
We were saying, she need to get them off. Yeah, so yeah.
And I'm going to end with my time was, oh Lord, I was trying to take her into the bathroom. And Mom had this finger and it had this fingernail and the fingernail was a little crooked. She took that nail and she dug it in my side. She kept digging and I asked her, I says, Mom, are you trying to take my kidneys out? And she says, yeah. I said, you know what? Well, you won. I quit. We can go back in the room now and you can go back and sit down because I want my kidneys in my body. But thank you all. Thank you all so much for sharing Mom's story. There will be a part 2 and possibly, our other siblings, Theodore and Pet, may join us then. But thank you all. And as I said, we will be back in 2 weeks. And our next story is going to be Josephina's story. We're going to find out the type of dementia she has and the challenges and struggles that her family have. Thank you all and have a good night.
Good night.
Bye-bye.